The auction attracted bidders from Sydney as well as builders and investors. Prices ranged from $82,000 to $106,000 for Landcom's prestige residential land release. However, not all the blocks were sold and negotiations are continuing. And they're on the money at Beaumont Park, Newcastle's old greyhound racing track, where everything except the land went under the hammer today. The Newcastle Jockey Club's selling off its unwanted assets. The track closed its doors at the end of the financial year, with the facility no longer financially viable. Everything from the grandstand to seats were sold. The NJC is lobbying council to have the land reclassified for residential housing.
Encounter a disappointing fourth, while General Nadine paid $3.70 and $1.50 for the win, $2.20 and $1.80 for the places, the Quinella $18.40 and the trifecta $1.42.10. Well, country champion Aquasoft headed to Sydney today, but the grand old campaigner who won the Grafton Cup was stepping back in distance and couldn't match it with the fast finishing Twilight Hour and Certainly. Twilight Hour paid $7.60 and $2.60, $3 and $2 for the places, the Quinella $29.60 and the trifecta $4.66.50. Encounter the only disappointment from the race. It finished fourth, while General Nadine won and paid $3.70 and $1.50. The Quinella $18.40 and the trifecta $1.42.10. It's not the place a footballer wants to be Monday morning, but Paul Harrigan had no choice. Chiefs started what will be a long week of physiotherapy on a lower back strain.
I don't know how I done it. I just come out of a scrum and felt like a mass pain in the bottom of my spine there, so I come off.
It's a similar injury to one the Newcastle captain had earlier this year, and while it's touch and go at the moment, Chief wants to play the Gold Coast on Sunday.
Yeah, plenty of physio and plenty of work in the pool and ice and that type of stuff, but I'm real keen on playing against the Gold Coast. I think it'll be a good game at home, and we're on a bit of a roll, and I think it's important to keep the form up and the fitness up going in the semis.
No such problems for the rest of the side after the Knights inched closer to the finals, and with the last 3 games against Gold Coast, Souths and Balmain, sights are firmly set on the top 3.
Our focus is on improving regardless of who we play. We need to consistently play well and take that sort of form and momentum into the semi-finals.
The Knights concede the effort against Illawarra was far from their best.
To come away with the 2 points and still not play to our best is certainly a good thing to do.
It's not the only positive the side will take from the game. Among other highlights, the great form of Brett Clements.
Yeah, I'm starting to get used to the pace of the game. It's taken a few games to get used to it, but things are going pretty good, yeah. I'm happy with it.
And Hunter is due to touch down shortly in Newcastle after yet another loss away from home in Super League. Despite matching Perth in try scoring, the Mariners failed with a boot. The 30-22 loss a reflection of a goal-kicking afternoon they would rather forget. Jonathan Upton, NBN News.
In a rare display of cooperation, coal companies and union delegates gathered in Newcastle to try and reduce the stockpile of problems facing the industry. Top of the heap is the Port Waratah Coal Service's inability to load the virtual sister city of up to 40 ships waiting off Newcastle's coast. The delays cost coal companies millions of dollars each week. The union has called on the state government to temporarily forego rail charges so some of the coal can be loaded at Port Kembla. It's even proposed buying into the planned third coal loader at Walsh Point on Kooragang Island.
In fact, we were considering at some stage putting some of our superannuation resources into this project.
Brambles Coal has also shown interest in the proposal, but it won't make a decision for at least a fortnight. One of the reasons there are so many ships is the volume of coal being sold by Hunter Valley Mines. That's due to another fall in the price for steaming coal, which has prompted fears about the industry's long-term future.
We actually are accommodating them by being foolish enough to take the volume they're offering at very, very considerably low prices.
We are in an international market, and yes, it's a tough year for Bayswater Colliery, but we'll survive, and hopefully the prices will go up next time that negotiations take place.
2 solutions have been offered to stop the slide: less production or a cooperative approach to negotiations by coal companies. However, both require companies to work together, and in the cutthroat business of coal, that appears unlikely. Richard O'Leary, NBN News. They still had the smiles on their faces and the gold medals around their necks as they were welcomed back at Newcastle's basketball stadium today. They've recovered from the hangovers inflicted by the victory party, but are still drunk on the euphoria of Sunday's historic World Championship win.
I don't think it's quite sunk in yet what we are as #1 in the world, but it's a great achievement. I'm very happy.
I've been watching basketball on TV for a lot of years, and you see all the Olympics and you see people getting their medals, and you always hope one day you can be up on the dais getting the same thing. It was just a great feeling. It's just a dream come true. I mean, you visualise it, going into the tournament and like all the preparation, the camps that we put through. It was a lot of really hard work, and it just, when they put it over my neck and looking at my family in the crowd just cheering, it was just everything coming together at once.
It was also a great win for the Newcastle Basketball Association, which provided the platform for the success of locals McGregor and Melmoth. All three of the under-23 stars are now intent on adding a championship ring to their gold medals. But it's an uphill battle for the Falcons. The team has to win 7 of its last 10 games to make the finals, the first against Canberra this Friday.
We've got that winning feeling at the moment, so hopefully we can spread it around a bit and then come through on Friday night and the following games after that.
Richard O'Leary, NBN News.
There were plenty of last-minute preparations this afternoon ahead of tonight's big event. 12 races will be contested at the track, which has just undergone a $600,000 revamp.
We've just upgraded the lighting down here at the track. We badly needed that down here before we closed. We have reshaped the track in a slight way, and we've put a lot of lighting in the batting ring and also a lot of improvements around the actual showground.
The work was ordered after a light pole collapsed 17 months ago. Further investigations revealed the whole site needed to be improved. The upgrade has been financed by the Racecourse Development Fund and the Greyhound Breeders, Owners and Trainers Association. Promoters are now preparing for a successful season and one which attracts top-class dogs.
From the response we had last Tuesday night for our initial trial night, we had a lot of Sydney trainers come up, bringing their top greyhounds up, and we have 2 future races on tonight which have brought and have attracted those top grey dogs.
More than 1,000 people are likely to attend tonight's racing, which will now be contested every Tuesday night. Jenny Crouch, NBN News. Shadow ministers converged on the Central Coast today, part of an ongoing plan to visit regional centres in the lead-up to the next state election. The opposition leader has stressed the importance of understanding issues relevant to the region.
The Central Coast will decide who wins the next state election. The Central Coast will decide the next government of New South Wales, and the Labor Party know that.
The Carr government has been accused of neglecting the Central Coast, particularly regarding road funding. The Shadow Roads Minister has called for the remaining 2-lane sections on the F3 to be widened.
It's probably the leading roads impediment in terms of access to and from the Central Coast, the metropolitan area and the northern part of New South Wales.
Education has also been a focus of today's visit. The Shadow Education Minister claimed he wasn't allowed to inspect the overcrowded North Lakes High, as it would highlight education problems.
The government can promise schools, but there is no money in the budget to deliver them. They have deliberately taken money out of the budget, 40% over 2 years.
The coalition leader has also called for the state government to support the International Garden Festival. He says it's an opportunity Premier Kennett wouldn't pass up.
Now, the same should be said by Bob Carr in New South Wales and should have been said years ago.
Jenny Crouch, NBN News.
More than 50 representatives from business, academic and community groups attended the workshop. Its agenda was to assess the ideas which were generated from the Pathways to Sustainability conference.
Take the ideas from the conference and put them into place and try and put them into practice, put a priority set of ideas back to Council.
In June of this year, more than 1,000 local and international delegates attended the conference. It was part of a broad plan aimed at promoting the city of Newcastle and the region as the future of sustainable development.
We're a city in transition. Things like BHP leaving town means that we have to be looking for a different future.
Today's workshop is expected to yield a Pathways Trust, a fund which will be used to drive the whole Pathways concept. Other outcomes will be reported to Council next month. Antonia Kidman, NBN News.
The 7 members of the state squad trained overnight with a regular class at the Hunter Valley Martial Arts Centre. They possess lethal skills and are deadly serious about their sport. Since the state titles in April, the squad members have focused their minds and bodies on the Nationals.
It's been 2 nights a week of intensive kumite or sparring training on top of their normal karate training. So some of these athletes train 5 nights a week.
Brian Hayes is confident he has his charges, ranging in age from 10 to almost 40, fighting fit. 5 of the team members are reigning state champions. Expectations are that they'll go one better and return from Melbourne with national titles under their brown and black belts.
You know, I think particularly, as I said, Sandra Maven is firing. I think Katie Davidson looks very good in the under-16s. I think Steve Cockrell looks very strong in his division. I feel good in the seniors. I won the national title last year and I'd like to go out and defend that.
The team leaves for Melbourne tomorrow. Phil Hind, NBN News.
Frustrated that talks have progressed at a snail's pace, miners at the Hunter Valley No. 1 mine met today to decide whether or not to go back on strike. After the 21-day truce expired last night with little headway gained, the union was ever ready to slam Rio Tinto.
Lack of integrity, a lack of honesty from the management of this particular company, and it's not something we're going to forget.
But adamant about removing union-controlled work practices, the company blames the CFMEU for the delays.
The union is resisting change. The officials don't want to change. It will encroach on their power base.
Further strike action was averted yesterday when the Industrial Relations Commission sternly recommended negotiations be extended for another 3 weeks. Despite some reservations, miners voted to continue talks. While both sides have been accused of provocation, miners claim they've been harassed by management to sign individual contracts. Outraged, they say it's a breach of the negotiating terms laid out by the Commission.
Ease into it, then they just hit you with if you want to jump ship, come and see me, or I can come and see you at your house, and just a load of crap.
While admitting that management had approached workers, Alan Davies denied any wrongdoing.
All that was said in the recommendation was that the company wouldn't send letters, wouldn't send out correspondence to employees, and we haven't done that.
Although talks resume on Friday, miners will take their cause to the streets of Singleton on Saturday. ACTU Secretary Bill Kelty will join the rally. Simone Cobb, NBN News.
David Judell has been fighting to stop the Woolworths development for the past 5 years. Today, bitter defeat after Port Stephens Council approved a second supermarket for the area, a discount department store and specialty shops.
Well, I'm very disappointed. We went to a lot of effort to
show council that the people didn't want a second Woolworths supermarket, and we failed.
Mr Judell owns another centre in the town, Torres Plaza, and says his campaign of petitions and letters was designed to protect not only his 18 tenants, but a further 36 retailers who claim such a development could send them out of business.
It'll just destroy us.
The additional 40 shops are not needed when, if you look around, there's a lot vacant.
But others say the project is long overdue.
I'm very excited about it actually, because a discount department store has been needed in Raymond Terrace for a long, long time, and the town's been suffering from the lack of it.
Port Stephens Council claims the 2-hectare development will help keep the $100 million that residents spend elsewhere in the town.
The objective of council is to increase the amount of shopping in Raymond Terrace, and with a development of this nature, there will be spin-offs to other people.
If the development application is approved, building is expected to begin in November. Sarah Griffiths, NBN News.
St Edward's at East Gosford hosted the New South Wales final of the Cochrane Cup. The Wagga team scored an early try, although the score was locked at 10-all at half-time. St Michael's then put in a solid performance to clinch the match 17-10.
Yeah, it'll make our bus trip, 6 or 7 hours on the bus, much easier having a win rather than a loss.
Wagga's Joseph Williams was named man of the match after scoring 2 of the 3 tries for St Michael's and 2 conversions.
Means a lot because, like, back at school the boys will be putting pressure on us and that, because they won it last year and won a couple of years before, so we had to win it this year to, like, keep the tradition up, really.
But Wagga's coach didn't single out any one person, attributing the win to every member of the team.
I think that we have a few stars, but in turn I think there's a lot of support players who probably don't get a lot of praise but do a lot of good work, and I think it's those sort of blokes that make the team and make the side what it is.
The competition was contested by more than 60 teams from 7 regions. Jenny Crouch, NBN News.
What price on a disused ribbon of rail snaking through towering trees, sand dunes and suburbs? Apparently too much when it comes to restoring an old tunnel and concreting up to 15 kilometres of track.
It's going to be a very expensive project. We estimate that it's looking like $10 million plus to do a total development of the 15 kilometres, and I think that'll be beyond the resources of both Newcastle and Lake Macquarie councils.
A plan for the conversion of the track will go on public display next month, recommending the staged restoration of the corridor for pedestrians and cyclists. Seating and interpretive panels describing historical as well as ecological features may be included. The Lake Macquarie City Council has set aside more than $80,000 to begin the project, but is waiting on Newcastle to match the amount. The councils will then lobby for dollar grants to continue the work.
The critical factor is the old tunnel. The cheapest option for repair is going to be in the order of $750,000. Until that tunnel is repaired and open, we're not going to have a continuous link between Newcastle and Lake Macquarie.
Just before starting at Newcastle High School, Andrew Dixon was diagnosed with dyslexia.
As dyslexic at the end of year 6 and then came into year 7 and pretty much scared, poor reader, lacking in confidence.
Andrew is now school captain and will sit for his higher school certificate later this year. He credits his remarkable success to the reading and tutoring program offered by the school. Without it, he doubts he would have stayed past year 10.
Realistically speaking, I would have left in around year 10, hoped to find a trade.
Andrew is only one of the many students who have benefited from the variety of literacy programs in place at Newcastle High.
Newcastle High has had a very proud history of providing quality education in this city, and their literacy program is one that's known about by lots of people throughout the state.
Antonia Kidman, NBN News.
The Workers' Club in Cardiff was once the social hub of the area, boasting 30,000 members. Now a steady stream of creditors have joined the dwindling numbers, and they're demanding money. After a meeting behind closed doors today, the club's administrator returned the previous board of directors to power.
It was decided today that the creditors would agree to an arrangement with respect to their debts and provide the club with the opportunity to go through the proper restructuring and get itself back on track.
The hefty task ahead includes paying off an $11 million debt while trying to entice patrons back to the club. So far, staff numbers have been cut by 60% in an effort to keep the doors open. The administrator is confident the rescue plan is working and will mean a better club for members.
They will see improvements in the service, in the facilities that are offered, and generally just the feel of the club. I think it's really starting to come back together.
Despite assurances that administrators will keep a close eye on the club, many creditors are not happy. They say they've lost faith in the original group of directors, now back running the club. Vanessa Spark, NBN News.
I hope that the message of the fact that they're prepared to join us will lead the Minister to realise that this is a wide issue and there's a lot of people that are very angry with what's happening. A strong, hot wind fanned a major fire in swampland near Salamander Bay in the Port Stephens area. It's believed the blaze was deliberately lit.
I believe the fire was deliberately lit down on the bike track a bit further down, and this time of year it's only a moderate fire danger, so it wasn't a natural cause.
Concerned residents and onlookers watched as the blaze threatened houses backing onto the reserve in Salamander Bay. With winds gusting to 40 knots, the fire blackened about 150 hectares before it was contained. Police closed the road as flames leapt 7 metres into the air. Both the Rural Fire and the New South Wales brigades worked tirelessly to contain the fire. They were assisted by a helicopter dumping water. Ambulance officers stood by as children and staff at a childcare centre were evacuated. Despite the size of the blaze, no injuries or damage to properties were reported.
It sounds bad, but it's probably not as bad as it, well, lucky it's now not in the middle of summer.
With bushfire season due to commence on the 1st of October, the fire brigade are warning of a dangerous summer.
I'd say it's going to be very bad summer.
In the Lake Macquarie area, firefighters contained a big scrub and grass fire between Charlestown and Warners Bay. Antonia Kidman, NBN News.